Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Chobo and Morrow here on Metalopolis. Here we have Chobo spawning as the blue Protoss player at the 12 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have Mouse, Mouse Morrow spawning over here as the red Terran player. And yep, should be a good game, Terran versus Protoss here on Metalopolis, and there is going to be one major road between these two locations. Now, a couple announcement things out of the way. If you guys have not already heard, I just recently found out that I will actually be participating in the Casters Cast Themselves tournament as a player in the streamer round. So I thought I was just live streaming the games and going to be shoutcasting it, but no, it actually sounds like I'm going to be participating. I will be in a group along with Sahara Drak, my friend from SC Legacy, versus Orb and Gertrop. I know I just butchered that name, but it is Day 9's practice partners, so it is going to be a very, very difficult time for me to make it out of the preliminary group stages, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Because of that, I need to start live streaming my games a little bit more, so if you haven't already, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. I will be announcing when I am going to be live streaming so that you guys can watch my games and hear me commentate as I do a game live. Back over here, we now see a probe now moving out. So that probe now moving out in the counterclockwise direction will not be able to find Morrow for quite some time, as it is going to be a relatively close spawn. Back over here in the base of Morrow, Morrow setting up a barracks in a very strange position, not quite at his front door, but not really close to his command center either. So a little bit of an interesting positioning off of that as we now see this probe continuing to move around the map. We do have a gateway nearing completion as well. We should see some sort of zealot or a quick cybernetics core, most likely a quick cybernetics core, in order to get out an early stalker. Stalkers are very, very powerful on this map to just try to counter any early Reaper harassment, and it looks like we may have Reaper harassment. The tech lab is in fact going down. It will take some time before we realize if it's going to be a Reaper or a Marauder, as this probe now walks up this ramp and quickly realizes that there is nothing there. Now sees this SCV. Morrow going to quickly come in, realize that it is not in this position, and then continue to move around as well. Back over here, we do see a Marauder now being trained, so an early Marauder instead of the early Reaper. So any chrono boosted stalker will be able to only deal with that early SCV that will be in that base. Back over here, we see a probe now moving around as well. The probe now into this base. Will it be able to do any harassment, perhaps deal some damage towards an SCV? There we go. 10 points of damage. Will it be able to take it down? Most likely not, as a Marauder now coming out in order to try to shoot down that probe. That one probe going to be hugging the edge. Oh, the Marauder did not walk along this edge here. Would have been able to take down that probe. Only needed one more shot, so a little bit of a miscalculation there. Back over here, we now see a 2-gate. So Chobo opening up with the Cybernetics core into a 2-gate with an additional pylon. I'm curious to see if we'll see a 3rd gateway or if we're going to see a robotics facility. Back over here, that probe now trying to pull away that Marauder, just activating this Zelnaga watchtower here, a very, very key Zelnaga watchtower, as that is the main walking distance between these two locations. No Zerglings will be able to run through here all the way around the map. So that's the reason why that one Zelnaga watchtower is so important. We do see one sentry, however. So in sentry now already coming into play. A stalker now being warped in, as well as that cybernetics core researching that warp gate. Back over here, a Marauder now pushing in over here. We'll have 3 Marauders, so we may have an early Marauder push coming in from Morrow. Morrow, however, does have the concussive shells, does not have the stim pack yet, as he is only mining from 1 gas right now. So mining from 1 gas, he will not be able to get that stim pack research for quite some time, as he will be gas locked. 50 of his 100 gas that he mines per minute will be going towards Marauder production instead of trying to get that research. Back over here, SCV now for some reason mining out this location as a probe, just continuing to walk around the map. Perhaps just going to try to head up this ramp over here, as we now have a group of 4 Marauders pushing out. These 4 Marauders will be able to just get stuck here, as there is one sentry. The Cybernetics core nearing completion on that warp gate research, as we also have a robotics facility. Probably going to be an observer first, as now these Marauders just hanging around over here. Chobo does not see those Marauders just hanging around in that position, as more Marauders continuing to be massed up. Back over here, no, we see a reactor, so it's going to be Marine Marauder, and now getting stim as well. So that stim, as it's being researched, that one Marauder taking some points of damage from those stalkers up on that high ground, and one Marauder sitting over here. We do have an early expansion by Morrow. So Morrow expanding over here at the 6 o'clock natural expansion location instead of his natural expansion over here. So any sort of observer that tries to come into this position will not be able to find that expansion for quite some time. And because we see Morrow is massing up a lot of units from these barracks, I do not think that Morrow will be able to catch us. We do see some SCVs now being transferred over, not too many, just 5. He does not want to get those caught as one probe quickly gets shot down there. One Marine still activating that Xel'Naga Watchtower. We do have one Immortal and a decent amount of Stalkers, Sentries, and Zealots here as Chobo tries to take up his natural expansion as well. Already upgrading to an orbital command, so Morrow will have a slight economic lead in just a little bit, and as he's also only mining from one gas still. Will he start to mine from these 2 Vespene Geysers is the key question as one SCV continues to move around the map. We do see one probe hiding around by these Mink statues with those wolves there, making sure that there is nothing behind this Mink statue, no army massing up. One SCV now going to come into this and perhaps going to quickly find this expansion here. Yes, does see the expansion before it gets shot down. There he goes. So the SCV worth its scouting there for, so 50 minerals now taken down. We do have one observer now in the air, and that observer giving plenty of sight. He still does not know about this expansion over here to the south. Are we going to get an orbital command sweep in order to try to shoot down that observer? That is the key question there. As that observer now moving around, this SCV needs to set up an expansion over here. Otherwise, Chobo is going to realize that there is another expansion. So yeah, Morrow it's faking that he's delaying his expansion when there's already one expansion down over here. Very nicely done. Purposely building that command center, or I think he is. I believe that he did see that observer, constantly waiting for energy in order to shoot it down. Yeah, he does see that observer, so trying to shoot down that observer there, getting underneath it, just waiting for the energy. Where is his command center? There it is, and now shoots down that observer. So he purposely allowed Chobo to see that he was getting a command center at his natural location. Otherwise, his opponent may be thinking that there's an expansion somewhere else. Back over here, we now see an Immortal guarding this one pylon, and both sides just macroing up a very, very large army. Chobo sitting at 75 over 76. Meanwhile, Morrow sitting at 85 over 102 and continuing to get a stronger and stronger economy going. You can take a look at the harvester count, 36 compared to 39, but that one additional mule will just reap many, many benefits there. We do have a decent amount of Marines, Marauders sitting in the middle of the map here, and I do not see any sort of starport just quite yet, as this factory is still being thrown down. This refinery was just completed just a moment ago, and we should probably see a starport in just a moment as well. Back over here, we do see a supply depot on this high ground, acting as a little bit of a scout over here, as these Marines perhaps going to activate, no, not going to activate that Xel'Naga Watchtower, just doing a move and attack and trying to clear out any proxy pylons. We do see another observer now in the base. Marines making their way over, perhaps is going to shoot it down once again. That observer now pulling back. So yeah, Morrow just really, really keeping on top of these observers in his base, wanting to make sure that he can easily and effectively shoot them out of the sky. We do see an engineering bay, but there are no missile turrets currently. That observer moves at a very slow 1.88. However, those Marines without stim are not able to catch up to him, and he does not want to use stim that sparingly, as he does not have a medevac just quite yet. Morrow now just continuing to macro up a larger and larger army with his stronger economy, should be able to eventually push into the base. However, if Chobo is able to get the Templar Archives with that Psystorm up and get off a couple key Psystorms, this whole entire Marine Marauder infantry army will just get torn apart. And by that Psystorm, I think the Psionic Storm tears units apart. Back over here, we still have Stalkers, production-wise, getting the Zealot Charge, level 1 weapons upgrades, as well as an additional reactor over here. So a reactor being thrown down by this factory, most likely going to be a starport swap here in just a moment in order to get medevacs much more quickly. And there, down we go. That starport will land, double training medevacs in just a second, and then this infantry army will become much more powerful. Back over here, we now see an observer moving around the map, and that observer may quickly find this other base over here, and that's going to be a very, very sad day indeed for Morrow. Morrow will not be able to mine out as much. No, he does see that one supply depot, so let's see if he suspects anything else. Quickly coming into here, doesn't see that command center, doesn't see a command center, but there is one command center here, and that is quickly going to be revealed. If you click on the minerals, you can see how many minerals he's already mined out. Already 300 to 400 per mineral patch. Another Marine shooting down that last probe here, as more barracks now being thrown down. So Morrow going into a very, very heavy mass infantry build. So Colossus and Templars will be absolutely critical. So it is going to be a combination of Zealots and Templars, since Templars are so gas intensive. And we already have the Zealot charge, so those Zealots will be able to run straight into that base and deal into the infantry ball. However, it is going to be fairly difficult as there are a lot of Marines and Marauders now moving out. Are these Marines and Marauders going to be able to deal enough damage? We do see 2 medevacs. Down goes this one pylon here. Poor probe never stood a chance. As this fight continues here, down goes one of those units. Marauders not even using stim, trying to save up as much as they can. Now maybe doing some sort of elevator drop into the base. So now we see what? A couple units there. Going to go ahead and drop off onto the high ground. No, going to drop off into this position. Now taking down some of these pylons. Medevacs now just perhaps going to stim and try to move away. And they were moving and dropping, trying to take down the Templar Archives. Archives already down to 400 hit points. Will it be, canceling that research just in time? And the medevacs now trying to pull out. Will they be able to? The one medevac down to 7 hit points, and down it goes. So wow, nicely done there. However, the Marines and Marauders are now going to be pressuring over here at the natural expansion. There are some Zealots already warping in, but the Zealots were not being shot at while they were being warped in. Not quite sure why. Now the Marines and Marauders are going to try to take down this Nexus. Nexus going to be taken down just as the last Marauder, so trying to use every single last second of DPS to take down that one building. We do see that we are upgrading the Templar Archives and also the Dark Shrine. Army-wise, 4875 versus 3500. Something needs to happen. Morrow now moving out with this one factory will shoot down that Marine, activating that Zonaga Watchtower. That factory needs to pull back, as it may get taken down as well. Marines and Marauders over here, a lot of infantry units. However, these Stalkers now walking up onto this high ground, stimming, and then will they be able to get some Psystorm off? Psystorm, so many key Psystorms dealing so much damage to so many units, and wow, just the Terran infantry army just getting ripped apart really by the Zealot blades. Those side blades digging deep into that infantry armor. We have a lot of barracks here making it very difficult for any of these Zealots to really push through, and in comes some force fields. So mass force fields as well. SCVs trying to block any sort of attack as well, but these Marauders with that decent range. Zealots having a very, very difficult time as well. Immortals now taking down some of these barracks over here as these Stalkers continuing to push. A lot of medevacs holding up some key units, but for some reason did not drop them off once again. Marines and Marauders continuing to fight back and forth. Morrow, however, taking a lot of damage. 2200 versus 3125. More force field coming into play. Too many Immortals to deal with. Immortals now being focused, and now these Marines and Marauders, will they have enough juice in them in order to finish off this whole entire attack here? Immortals are going to be the key thing to try to take down. And production wise, we see Ghosts now being trained. So Mask, or 2 Ghosts now being trained up. All of these barracks now going to get taken down as well. And now there's 1 Ghost here and 2 Ghosts here. So units just continuing to fire. Are they going to be able to deal more and more? However, feedback onto a medevac there. As more and more fighting continues, we have 1 Archon, and Morrow now says GG. So a good game. Chobo doing a great job knowing how to handle the Terran versus Protoss infantry army. A lot of players have been saying that the Terran army, all you need to do is just hit 1A and simply mass move, and it can take down so many things, but this just proves how powerful Psystorm is against the Terran infantry army. A couple well-placed Psystorms there very, very early, and with those Psystorms in place, even though Morrow had a significant economic advantage for quite some time, able to mine out of this particular group of mineral patches and then trying to start mining out of this, he was unable to deal with the very, very strong army of these Stalkers. Also on top of that, Morrow had the level 1 weapons upgrade. However, the significant science or the tech advantage for the Protoss player, getting the Templar Archives, getting Psystorm, and letting those High Templar just mass up and gain a lot of energy over time so that they had enough to get 2 to 3 critical Psystorms off, was absolutely critical. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Morrow and Chobo here on Metalopolis.